What's good, y'all? You know, we talk a lot about how the left hates Christians, hates Christianity, and it's not just in this country. We saw it last week on an international stage. So we'll get into that. And now that they have completed a bloodless coup on Biden and installed another puppet in Kamala Ding Dong, there are a bunch of beta males who are going all in for their support of this lunatic. And it's really just sad. And the latest narrative is that JD Vance and the rest of the Republicans are weird. So we got all that and more coming up. So let's get after it. All right, y'all, please hit that like button, subscribe, share, comment. We need you all to do that because the algorithm is actively trying to suppress us and content like ours, especially during this election season. You've probably seen the stories about the AI chatbots that are suppressing searches for President Trump's assassination attempt, and even saying in some responses that it's fake and the photos are manipulated. So they are actively trying to suppress us, suppress the word that we're trying to get out. So if you could go ahead and do us a favor and hit those like buttons and comment and help us get the word out, we would really appreciate it. You can also hit us up on socials at Mission Ready Men on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Truth Social. And if you like audio podcasts, you can find us on Spotify and Spreaker and pretty much wherever you get your podcast content from, and give us a like and a share there as well. And if you like the shirt I'm wearing, Mission Ready Men, head over to 7armors.com, the number 7armors.com, and pick one up. All right, y'all, we have business out of the way, so let's hit it.
Hit it, sweetheart.
I am sure that by now you have all heard about the blasphemy perpetrated at the opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games in Paris. Just demonic. And it's not just that they are mocking Da Vinci's depiction of the Last Supper. That was ridiculous enough, and I did a short video on that last week, and we'll probably get into it a little more as things develop. But what gets me, and I'm sure you've heard this before too, these people never mock Islam. They never mock Buddhism. They never mock Hinduism. Even though Muhammad was a pedo, the Dalai Lama is a pedo. And it wouldn't surprise me if one or more of the 5,000 gods that the Hindus worship were kid diddlers as well. But what really struck me, even though it shouldn't have really, I mean, we've seen a lot of this nonsense before, but we had those trannies mocking the Last Supper and prancing around on the stage with kids. We're not going to show the video. I've had enough of that. But if you do watch the video, and it's all over the place, you can see that there are, I counted at least three kids involved in that demonic nonsense. And then there was one guy looking like an out of shape gay Smurf with his junk hanging out in front of kids. This proves once again that they're coming for your kids.
You think we're sinful? You fight against our rights. You say we all lead lives you can't respect. But you're just frightened. You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked. Funny, just this once, you're correct. We'll convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. We're coming for them.
When people tell you who they are, believe them. They're coming for your kids. They're coming for your kids because they can't have any of their own naturally. And so not only are they going to try and convert your kids in schools and stuff like that, they're paying women to rent out their wombs so that they can have kids of their own. And we've seen all the stories of all these people who are doing this and then abusing the kids that are produced out of this demonic nonsense. Why do you think they mock Christians and Christianity with such impunity? They mock Christians and Christianity, but they shy away from mocking religions like Islam and Buddhism and Hinduism. Why do you think they do that? The obvious reason why they don't do it with Islam is because they know that Islam will react violently. They'll behead people, issue fatwas, throw them off buildings, and burn down cities. If they did that to Islam, to the Prophet Muhammad, Paris would be engulfed in flames. But the other religions, like Buddhism and Hinduism and all the other false religions, don't make people uncomfortable in their sin. Christians and Christianity, the Bible teaches against all the things that we're seeing normalized right now. But the Bible teaches that all that is a sin, and that makes people uncomfortable. And they chose to mock the Last Supper because it represents Jesus cleansing us of our sin. It represents it is a depiction of the basis of the Christian communion, which is a remembrance of Jesus' sacrifice and the salvation and the grace that we receive as a result of that sacrifice. And they chose to desecrate this by openly sinning in the most, in the grossest way possible. They did this to show that they're in charge. They did this to show that they're in charge, that they have power and they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, including grooming children on international television. Now, that wasn't it. Another blasphemous act at the opening ceremony was this. So I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with it. Just mocking the Bible, mocking Christianity, just openly rebelling against God. Now, one of the interesting things is that where that robot horse rode is the river where the Olympic triathlon is supposed to take place. And the water quality is unsafe for people to swim in. Interesting. And they've been testing it, and as of this recording, it's still not safe. And the power went out in Paris after the opening ceremony. The power went out everywhere except the Sacred Heart Basilica. Now, the people who don't believe will say that both of these events, the water quality and the power outage, were a result of the heavy rain that happened in France that day. That may be the physical cause, but this is spiritual warfare, and God will not be mocked. Now, a couple more things about the Olympics, which tie into what we just talked about, what we talked about first at the Open. They are allowing biological men to box women at the Olympics. 2 female boxers set to compete at Paris 2024 were previously disqualified from Women's World Championship for having XY chromosomes. They're dudes. Well, let's take a look here. Among the disqualified was Amain Khelif, an Algerian boxer who had been set to challenge Yang Lu of China in the welterweight final. Khelif was removed from the gold medal fight, and Thailand's Jan Jim Swanafang, and if I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. But that boxer lost to Khelif in the semifinals and was allowed to fight instead. And this is what the boxer she beat said. When I fought her, I felt very out of my depth. Mexican boxer Brianda Tamara wrote on X. Her blows hurt me a lot. I don't think I had ever felt like that in my 13 years as a boxer, nor in my sparring with men. Thank God that day I got out of the ring safely, and it's good they finally realized. Wow. And then there was a second boxer, Taiwan's Lin Yuting. I mean, just look at that. I mean, the difference is obvious. But this was written before the competition happened. And so now the Amain Khelif has competed in his first match. And take a look at what happened.
A la mexicana, Amain Khelif, que se está llevando la contienda ahora en las repeticiones, golpe de impacto, sí, se vio claramente de nueva cuenta el recto en combinación, hasta 5 golpes alcanzó a conectar, manejándose con el jab y otra vez en la combinación ahí, en el upper, otro golpe de impacto, le van a aplicar otra cuenta de protección, cuidado porque si llega a una tercera ocasión es susceptible de que le detengan el pleito.
La velocidad de puños de Khelif no pudo contrarrestar lo rápido que desenfundaba tanto la izquierda como la derecha, y en la parte de este tercer episodio se estuvo comiendo en reiteradas ocasiones el jab y el recto.
All right, that's enough. Amateur boxing, amateur Olympic competition, the fights are 3 rounds. They wear headgear. The damage to that woman's face in 3 rounds with headgear. I mean, in what world is that okay? How is that okay? Just insane. And the International Olympic Committee is not done with their insanity. They are allowing a child rapist to compete in Olympic competition. Steven van der Velde, a Dutch child rapist playing beach volleyball at the Olympics. This guy He's 29. But in 2014, when he was 19, he raped a 12-year-old British girl. So it's not like he was 18 and his girlfriend was 16 and her parents got upset. No. He traveled from Amsterdam to the UK, raped her, and presumably just left her there. He was arrested a couple of years later and given a 4-year sentence. And it gets worse because he served some time in England and then got shipped back to the Netherlands and served a combined 13 months in prison between Britain and the Netherlands. And now he is given the honor of playing beach volleyball for the Netherlands in the Olympic Games. And the IOC took the coward's way out. Not to excuse it in any way, but this took place, I think, 10 years ago. And I think, as a general rule, I think we need to allow for the possibility of rehabilitation for a child rapist. Are you insane? Anyway, just total degeneracy at the Olympics. Complete and utter degeneracy. All kinds of trans nonsense, gender confusion nonsense, pedophilia, and a convicted pedophile competing in the game. I mean, as if there was any more reason to boycott the Olympic Games. This is just insane. So Kamala Ding Dong is the presumptive nominee for the Democrats now. They had a bloodless coup and they booted Biden out of there. And now we have these beta white dudes who they organized a conference call and they are going all in on their support for Kamala Ding Dong. Look at these dudes. Brad Bowman, Mike Nellis, and Ross Morales. I mean, it's almost like you could predict what these dudes were going to look like. I mean, just total betas. And they're not supporting her because they think she's the best person for the job. They can't possibly, no one with more than 2 brain cells to rub together can possibly think that she is the best person for the job. She is an epic failure. She has failed upward her entire career. She was a terrible district attorney in San Francisco. She was a terrible attorney general for the state of California. She was an ineffectual, at best, senator from the state of California. And she has been a non-existent, less than useless vice president. I mean, she is a DEI hire. There's no 2 ways about it. And I know we're not supposed to be saying that, but it's true. It is absolutely true. And putting aside all of that, the one job she was given, the most important job she was given as VP, has been a disaster under her leadership. She is very, very clearly unqualified. And she will be the worst president this country has ever seen. She would be worse than Biden. And Biden, to this point, has been the worst. And she would make him seem like Reagan in comparison. And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but she was to the left of Bernie Sanders with her voting record in the Senate. Let that sink in. And these betas, they're only supporting her because they've been guilted or brainwashed or both into supporting a black woman who is not even black. Her mother's Indian and her father's Jamaican. These dudes, these dudes are very clearly not mission ready. Now, when I was diving into this to do this part of the show, I found this guy who has this concept called man box. Now, check out what he says about men who refuse to conform to the feminized beta version of manhood that these leftists have. So this guy, Mark Green, the GOP has weaponized the man box. Extremist men are coming for our rights and our freedoms. The reason men in the manosphere, whatever that is, are so angry at women, because empowerment for women requires accountability from men. For men, being held accountable, and more so holding ourselves accountable in relationships where women have equal power, requires self-reflection. Okay. For men raised in our bullying, dominance-based culture of masculinity, self-reflection is forbidden or punished. Who we authentically are doesn't matter in man box culture. This sounds like some lesbian screed. Anyway, we are trained instead to model our identity on a narrow set of rules for how to be a man, the rules of man box culture. Well, see, this is the absence of Christian men in the home. That's what this boils down to. Because this is not how a Christian man, how a godly man teaches his son to behave. This is not how a godly man behaves. Don't show your emotions. Well, there is something to be said for being stoic. There is something to be said for controlling your emotions. A man is supposed to be able to control his emotions. Be tough, never ask for help. Well, that's stupid. People always need help. And asking for help when you really need help, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Be heterosexual, well, there is something wrong with being something other than heterosexual. And we go over that all the time. Never talk about anything deep. Well, that's stupid. That's just stupid. Be a breadwinner, not a caregiver. You can be both. And a Christian man is both. A Christian man provides for his family and he cares for his family. He cares for his friends. He cares for his community. This is just dribble. Have control over women and girls. Well, that's just stupid. A man is supposed to lead, but a man is supposed to protect. But it's not about control. And have lots of sex. Well, that's just stupid. That is not what a man is supposed to do. That is not how a godly Christian man is supposed to act. And if that's how he thinks men are supposed to act, well then anyone who thinks that is horribly, horribly misguided. But that's what's out there. And that's what we here at Mission Ready Men are trying to combat. Because the betas that are pushing that nonsense and telling men that they have to be the exact opposite of that, telling men that they have to be feminized and all this other nonsense, we can't have that. We have to fight against that. And that's what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna get you out of here with some oh, these people are ridiculous. They are trying to advance the narrative that JD Vance is hurting President Trump's candidacy because of his childless cat ladies comment and other things that he said, going back to his Senate run, which is when that comment was made. These people, because of that comment and some others, these people are claiming that he's weird and creepy.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
As weird and creepy as JD Vance. Soup.
Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell saying somebody's weird and creepy. Okay.
Weird idea from JD Vance.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's quite weird. They're just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Just plain weird.
Donald Trump and his weirdo running mate.
Trump and Vance are just weird, in addition to being dangerous to democracy.
It's the weird part that's the most engaging.
That's weird. Never mind. That's just ridiculous. And these guys.
Can we talk on it? By saying that it's phenomenon. You know it. Indeed, I do. Phenomenon.
Padam. Do I even want to know? Seriously? JD Vance is...
And when they cut to the President of the United States.
Used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway, done. All right, nice to see you guys. Thank you. See you back home, I hope. There's no such thing as someone else's child. No such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children.
Those are the people. Those are the people who are claiming that JD Vance, who grew up poor, went into the Marine Corps, went to a prestigious school, started businesses, made a successful life for himself, is married with a few kids. He's the weird one. But you got a guy who likes to snip and nibble on kids who are not his. And Eric Swalwell, who likes to sleep with Chinese spies and pass gas on national television. Those are the people saying that JD Vance is weird. Anyway, folks, that's it for today. I will try to do better on the next one. Please remember to like and subscribe and share these videos, share the audio podcast, so we can continue to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ and the message of liberty and freedom and hope that he offers. And as always, when seconds count, the police are only minutes away, but the Lord is right there with you. So keep your prayers going up and your head on a swivel. God bless.